Chosen one. Listen closely. This moment was carved into eternity before you ever took your first breath. You are not here by accident, scrolling at random, stumbling upon words that feel too precise to be coincidence. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you so that you might hear this. You have been wondering if the path of compromise could finally bring relief, if bending just a little, if reaching for that forbidden prize could secure what your weary heart craves. But God says clearly, don't do it no matter how much you think you'll gain. You already know why these words feel like they pierce your soul. Because every time you reached out for shortcuts, the peace drained away, the joy dimmed, and something sacred within you began to fracture. You were not called to trade purity for profit, destiny for distraction, or eternity for a moment of applause. The temptation may be polished, wrapped in promises of security, but it is poison dressed as fruit, and heaven loves you too much to let you swallow it in silence. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 4, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and staff comfort me." Chosen one. Every sleepless night, every tear shed in secret, was not wasted. Those were not signs that God had abandoned you. They were the chiseling moments where He carved strength, patience, and discernment into your spirit. That is why your heart has become restless when compromise knocks. That is why, no matter how alluring the offer looks, a deep unease rises inside you. It is not paranoia, it is divine protection. You are standing on a razor-thin line. One step toward compromise, and your light dims. One step toward obedience, and your wings strengthen. You may not see it yet, but entire generations are tied to your choice. What you accept now will echo beyond your lifetime. This is why heaven interrupts you. Why these words grip you so tightly. The cost of surrendering your birthright to gain a temporary crown is too high. Let me tell you plainly, you are not common. You were never meant to blend in with the crowd. That is why rejection has followed you. Why misunderstanding has been your shadow. Why you feel isolated even in a room full of people. It is because you are set apart, chosen, consecrated for a purpose the enemy has been trying to abort since the day you were born. But here you are, still breathing, still chosen, still capable of standing in strength when the world expects you to collapse. Do not let the hunger of this moment cause you to forfeit the harvest of eternity. Every sacrifice of obedience plants seeds you cannot yet see. But heaven sees them, and heaven multiplies them. I know it is not easy. Your heart aches for breakthrough. Your hands feel empty when you look at others gaining through shortcuts. But listen, comparison is the thief that whispers. If you compromise, you can have what they have, yet God whispers louder. If you obey, you will have what only I can give. Do not settle for borrowed blessings when you were designed for divine inheritance. This is a crossroad moment. You cannot pretend you did not hear this. The Spirit has placed these words before you as a mirror to show you what you could lose, but also to remind you of the glory waiting if you endure. You have been preserved, protected, and positioned for such a time as this. And the very fact that you are still standing proves that the darkness failed to destroy you. Beloved, chosen one, you are about to rise. But first, you must refuse the counterfeit rise the enemy offers. Let go of the idea that gain without God will satisfy you. It will not. It cannot. You were designed for eternal crowns, not temporary trinkets. If this word has struck your spirit, if you feel the fire of recognition burning within you, then act. This is not entertainment. This is intervention. Do not scroll away as if nothing happened. Stand firm. Speak it out. Declare your allegiance to the path of obedience. Comment below with the number 777, a prophetic sign that you choose completion in Christ over compromise in the world. And if these words have carried life into your soul, then do not keep them hidden. Share them so that another weary heart may hear the warning. Like this message if it has reminded you of your strength, and above all, subscribe. Because what heaven is pouring through this channel is not random content. It is a lifeline meant to carry you from confusion into clarity. Chosen one. The morning of reckoning has arrived. This is your moment. Stand. Refuse the counterfeit. Embrace the true. The heavens are watching, and your future is waiting. The forbidden offer never arrives, wrapped in warning signs. No. Chosen one. It comes clothed in splendor, shimmering with false security, whispering promises that align perfectly with the hunger of your heart. It tells you, this is the answer you've been waiting for. It appears like a shortcut to peace, a back door to stability, a way to bypass the long nights of waiting. Yet deep within, your spirit trembles, because something holy inside of you knows that not every door that swings open is meant to be walked through. You stand at the edge of a table where opportunity is laid out like a banquet. On the surface, it looks like favor. Yet favor from the wrong source is not favor at all. It is entrapment. For the adversary is cunning. He knows you've been tired, weary, longing for breakthrough. So he offers it packaged in a way that feels like an answer to prayer, when in truth it is a snare. There is a subtle voice that says, no one will notice if you step just a little out of line. No one will know if you bend your integrity just once. Isn't it worth the gain? But heaven cries louder, don't do it, no matter how much you think you'll gain. The ancient words recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 26. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? What can anyone give in exchange for their soul? The offer before you is not just about material things. It is about alignment. To accept it is to silently agree that your hunger is greater than your obedience, that your desire for relief outweighs your devotion to God's timing. Yet, chosen one, this is not who you are. You were not built to be bought. You were not formed to be swayed by glittering chains. You were chosen to stand, even when standing costs you what others would call gain. The enemy will whisper, everyone bends, everyone cheats a little, everyone compromises somewhere. But you are not everyone. The world may normalize shortcuts, but you were called to be a signpost of integrity in a generation that has lost its compass. To compromise would not just be a small act, it would fracture the identity heaven has sealed upon your life. You may wonder, but why does it look so right if it's wrong? That is the oldest deception of all. The fruit in Eden was pleasing to the eye. It looked good. It smelled good. It promised knowledge. Yet the bite brought death, shame, and exile. Do not let the beauty of the offer blind you to the poison inside. Every forbidden offer looks like treasure until it becomes a curse. Chosen one. Think back to all the times you nearly settled, but God intervened. Remember the moments when your own wisdom would have led you into a trap, but His mercy redirected your steps. Do you not see? This moment is no different. The warning is mercy itself. The pause you feel in your spirit is the Spirit of God holding you back from ruin. If you silence that pause, if you harden your heart to that conviction, the gain will soon rot in your hands. Doors that God does not open will not lead to lasting peace. They may glitter, but they will corrode. They may rise, but they will collapse. They may promise, but they will betray. The question you must confront is not, what will I lose if I say no? The real question is, what will I lose if I say yes? Look deeper. Can you see it? The enemy does not tempt you with something irrelevant. He tempts you with something that looks like it fits the void you feel. But he cannot fill you. Only God can. You were designed to hunger for Him. And when you feed that hunger with imitation bread, it leaves you emptier than before. This forbidden offer is not your answer. It is your exam. Heaven is watching how you respond. Not because God delights in making you suffer, but because your obedience today sets the stage for blessings tomorrow. Passing this test secures things you cannot yet imagine, doors that are holy, opportunities that are pure, gain that brings no sorrow with it. Do not trade the eternal crown for a momentary comfort. The forbidden offer looks like a shortcut, but it is in truth a detour to destruction. And you, beloved, are called to life, abundance, and destiny. So lift your eyes from the table of false promises. Walk away, even if your heart screams that you are missing out. For in truth, you are not missing anything. You are preserving everything. Chosen one. Every step you have taken to reach this moment has been marked by trial. Do not mistake your hardships as proof that you are forgotten. They were not punishments, they were preparations. The nights you spent crying into silence, the mornings you rose, weary, yet still pressed forward, the betrayals you endured, the misunderstandings that cut your soul, none of these were wasted. They carved resilience into you. They forged discernment. They proved that you could carry weight others would have collapsed under. The adversary would have you believe that those struggles disqualified you, that pain is evidence of weakness. But heaven declares otherwise. Your scars are proof that you have been tempered in fire. You are more dangerous to darkness now than you were before. Precisely because you know what it is to bleed and still not break. The ancient words recorded in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." These words lift your perspective. What you thought was punishment was in fact a process. Each blow you endured was working for you, not against you. Each disappointment was shaping you for eternal weight that mere human gain cannot match. The pain was never random. It was building the vessel you now are, capable of carrying the mantle that others could not bear. Think back. Chosen one. Remember the season when you were left out, misunderstood, pushed aside. At the time, it seemed cruel, unfair, crushing. But now you can see it protected you from alliances that would have poisoned you, from roads that would have led you into traps. Heaven did not abandon you. Heaven was shielding you. refining you. That is why the forbidden offer must be resisted. Because if you betray all those trials now, if you sell out after surviving so much, you waste the very reason you were preserved. The enemy does not want your money, your possessions, or your applause. He wants your endurance wasted, your scars rendered meaningless, your preparation aborted. But you will not give him that satisfaction. Every sleepless night was a rehearsal for this choice. Every tear shed in silence was water for the seed of discernment you now hold. The fact that you are here, hearing these words, proves you are not one to break under pressure. You have already survived storms meant to drown you. Why, then, would you surrender at the sight of false gain? You are not like the rest. Others may stumble into shortcuts and still find a way back. But your calling is heavier, your crown brighter, your assignment greater. To betray it would not only wound you, it would rob generations tied to your destiny. That is why your struggle has been harder, your loneliness deeper, your attacks fiercer. You are carrying more than yourself. And so I speak this over you. Lift your head. See your scars, not as evidence of failure, but as proof of endurance. Your trials are testimonies in disguise. Your pain is prophecy, declaring that you have been chosen to withstand what would crush others. Now, I ask you to do something simple, yet powerful. Comment these words below. No turning back. This is more than a phrase, it is a proclamation. When you write it, you are rejecting the idea of compromise, rejecting the whisper that tells you to sell your endurance cheaply. You are anchoring your spirit in obedience. Understand this. Such a declaration is not for applause. It is a seal upon your own heart. Every time you see those words written by your own hand, you will be reminded that you chose forward over backward, obedience over compromise, destiny over distraction. Heaven witnesses it, darkness fears it, and your own soul strengthens through it. Chosen one, you are stronger than you know. The darkness knows it. That's why it trembles at your persistence. If you were ordinary, your struggles would have destroyed you already. The fact that you are still standing is proof you are extraordinary. Heaven has invested too much in you for you to give in now. Let your trials echo as reminders. You were forged for this. You survived to choose rightly, and as you choose obedience, you will see that every scar was worth it. Chosen one, there comes a time when mercy, long extended, begins to step back. This is not because heaven delights in punishing you, but because there is a holy boundary to grace. Mercy is like an open hand, stretched out again and again, shielding you, redirecting you, covering mistakes you did not even realize you made. Yet when compromise is chosen repeatedly, when warnings are ignored, when the gentle nudge of conviction is silenced, mercy begins to withdraw. You must understand, heaven's patience is not weakness. God's long-suffering is not an invitation to trample on his kindness. His delay in judgment is space for repentance, not permission to rebel. Many fall because they confuse his silence with his approval. They assume that because the lightning did not strike immediately, the forbidden path is safe. But, chosen one, that is a lie. What is tolerated for a time will eventually be judged, unless it is surrendered. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 6. The Lord, The Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. This is his nature, abounding in compassion, patient beyond human measure, faithful even when we are unfaithful. But his patience, though deep, is not endless when rebellion persists. To imagine otherwise is to treat his mercy as something cheap, when in truth it was purchased at the highest cost, the blood of the Lamb. Mercy has been your shield in ways you do not yet comprehend. It blocked traps you never saw. It silenced accusations that could have destroyed your name. It covered mistakes that should have cost you more than they did. But mercy also warns, do not play with fire, or you will be burned. Each time you stand at the edge of compromise, mercy whispers, turn back. Each time you ignore the whisper, the warning grows louder, and if you continue, the whisper will fade. Not because heaven has abandoned you, but because you chose deafness over obedience. Chosen one, imagine a warrior on a battlefield, protected by a shield. As long as the shield remains, arrows cannot pierce, flames cannot consume, swords cannot strike. But what happens if the warrior throws down the shield, believing he no longer needs it? Exposure, vulnerability, disaster. That shield is mercy in your life. To step out from under it is to step into danger greater than you can endure. This is why the Spirit interrupts you now, because the choices before you are not just about immediate consequences. They are about whether you will continue walking under mercy's covering or step into a place where protection is withdrawn. You do not always get to choose your consequences. You only get to choose your actions. The ripple of those actions determines what mercy can still shield you from. Do not let the silence deceive you. Mercy's patience does not mean heaven is indifferent. Heaven watches every choice, records every step, weighs every motive. When mercy has extended every chance, when warning after warning has been ignored, judgment does not come because God delights in it, but because it becomes the only language left to awaken a hardened heart. Yet even now, there is still time. The very fact you are hearing these words proves that mercy is still active. The warning itself is mercy. The conviction in your chest is mercy. The unease that rises when you think of compromise is mercy. Every delay in consequence is heaven pleading with you. Do not waste this chance. Do not cross the line where mercy steps back. Consider your past. How many times you were preserved? How many times did you narrowly escape what could have destroyed you? That was mercy. How many doors closed that you cried over, only to realize later they would have trapped you? That was mercy. How many people walked away from your life, leaving you confused and broken, only for you to later see their intentions were dark? That was mercy. Chosen one, do not despise the shield that has guarded you. Do not gamble with it. You may think you can handle compromise and still carry favor, but you cannot. The moment mercy steps back, the enemy who has been restrained will rush in with fury. What you resisted by grace before will become unbearable without it. This is why heaven pleads, don't do it. You are not standing at a casual decision. You are standing at a divine threshold. This is not about whether you gain temporary relief. It is about whether you remain under mercy's covering. Refuse the forbidden offer, not because you are strong enough on your own, but because you know your strength lies in staying aligned with mercy's protection. Chosen one, Mercy has held you long enough to bring you to this word. Do not squander the grace still available, for there will come a moment when the shield will be lifted if you keep reaching for rebellion. And once lifted, you cannot predict what storm will break through. You have been warned, not out of cruelty, but out of love. Heaven longs for your obedience, not your destruction. The shield of mercy longs to remain over you. So, choose well. Protect what has protected you. Honor the mercy that has carried you this far, and it will continue to carry you until you walk into glory. Chosen one. Some of the most dangerous snares in life do not appear as weapons. They come dressed as gifts. They knock on your door with a smile. They speak in the language of prosperity. They wear the mask of blessing. These are the idols in disguise, promises of prestige, status, and power that appear holy on the outside but hollow on the inside. If you are not careful, you will mistake the wrapping for the substance and exchange your inheritance for glitter that fades. Think of it this way. A fisherman never dangles a bare hook. He wraps it in bait that looks delicious to the fish. The fish sees food, not realizing it is a trap. That is how the adversary works with you. He dresses compromise in the language of opportunity. He coats destruction in the sugar of promotion. But once you bite, the hook pierces, and the freedom you thought you were gaining becomes a chain around your soul. The apostle reminds us in his first letter to John, chapter 2, verse 16, "For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. These are the idols in disguise. They tempt you with what looks harmless, but they are not born from the Father. They are counterfeit treasures, and if you bow before them, you lose sight of the only treasure that cannot be stolen, your destiny in God. Beloved, idols do not always look like golden statues. Sometimes they look like a promotion, a platform, or a promise whispered in your ear. Sometimes they sound like applause, or feel like security, or smell like recognition. None of these things are evil in themselves. But when they begin to compete with obedience, when they require you to compromise to gain them, they become idols. And idols, no matter how shiny, always demand sacrifice. You may feel the pull now. You may feel as though saying yes will finally silence the hunger, the loneliness, the waiting. But what you must realize is this: idols take more than they give. They promise peace, but deliver anxiety. They offer recognition, but leave you empty. They lift you high, only to drop you harder than before. Chosen one. If this word is resonating with you, I want to pause here and speak heart to heart. These messages are like seeds planted into your life. They carry weight. They carry truth. They carry the urgency of heaven. And just as a farmer must water the ground where seeds are sown, I invite you to help water this space. Share this word so it may land in the soil of someone else's heart. Like it, so the message can travel further. Like ripples moving outward from a single stone cast into a river. Subscribe, not as an act of routine, but as a way of saying, yes, I want to remain connected to the flow of these living waters. And if your heart feels stirred to go further, to not only receive, but to pour back, then consider donating. Think of it as adding oil to a lamp that burns through the night, keeping the flame alive so others wandering in darkness may see. Your generosity does more than support. It becomes part of the testimony itself. You are not just a listener, you are a torchbearer, ensuring the fire does not dim. Now, let us return to the message. Idols are subtle. They do not shout their names. They whisper. They whisper when you are tired, when you feel overlooked, when you are most vulnerable. That is why discernment is so critical. If you cannot tell the difference between a true blessing and a disguised idol, you risk bowing to what was meant to be beneath you. Chosen one. Remember this: a crown gained by compromise will always feel heavier than a cross carried in obedience. One destroys you from the inside out, the other refines you into glory. Do not let disguised idols rob you of the honor that awaits. Your life is not meant to be a marketplace where the highest bidder wins your soul. You are a temple, set apart, consecrated. To trade that for temporary applause is to sell priceless treasure for coins that rust. And yet, many do so without realizing it. That is why you must stay awake. That is why heaven speaks now. Do not bow to idols in disguise. No matter how lovely they appear, stand firm. Say no. Keep your altar pure. For when the counterfeit passes, the true blessing will come, and it will not ask you to trade your integrity to receive it. Chosen one. Betrayal does not always arrive with a loud announcement. Sometimes it tiptoes into your life as a whisper, as a tiny compromise that feels too small to matter. It is the silent betrayal, subtle, almost invisible, until one day you look back and realize you have crossed a line you never meant to cross. That is how the enemy works, not by demanding you abandon everything at once, but by convincing you to give up little pieces until there is nothing left to protect. A quiet decision here, a hidden shortcut there. At first, it feels harmless. It's just one step. It's just one time. But chosen one. Those small choices become threads woven into a net that eventually entangles your spirit. The enemy does not need you to make a dramatic collapse. He only needs you to drift quietly away from your calling until you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. This question still resounds today. Silent betrayal begins with wavering, when you keep one foot in obedience and another in compromise. It feels easier to balance in the middle, but in truth, neutrality is a choice. Wavering is already betrayal, because God does not call his chosen ones to split allegiance. He calls you to stand firm, fully, without double-mindedness. Chosen one. Think about the times you told yourself, I will just bend this once. Did it stop at once, or did it quietly open a door that made the next bend easier? That is how chains are forged, one link at a time. Silent betrayal never feels heavy at first, but the weight compounds until you wake up suffocating under choices you barely remember making. And yet, even now, you are being warned. Heaven is pulling you back, exposing what seemed harmless, so you can see it for what it really is. A slow rebellion. Do not treat this lightly. Every time you choose obedience over compromise, you slam the door on silent betrayal. Every time you say no to the whisper of shortcuts, you say yes to destiny. You may wonder, but how do I resist something so subtle? The answer is light. darkness thrives in silence and secrecy. Bring your struggles into the light. Confess the temptations. Pray openly. Share with those who walk with God. Silent betrayal only grows in hidden places. The moment you drag it into the open, its power begins to die. Chosen one, you are not powerless against this. In fact, the very reason you are hearing these words is because heaven believes you can overcome it. If the enemy truly had you bound, you would not feel conviction. The unease you sense proves that your spirit is alive, alert, and ready to break free. Do not ignore that stirring. Let it drive you back into the arms of obedience. And now, I want you to anchor this truth with an act of declaration. Comment the number 444 below. This is not random. 4 is a number tied to stability and foundation. By writing 444, you are saying, I choose to build on the foundation of truth, not on the shifting sand of compromise. It is more than digits. It is a prophetic symbol of alignment, a statement that you will not waver between two opinions. Do not underestimate this. The enemy hopes you will hear and stay silent, because silence allows the drift to continue. But when you comment 444, you are breaking agreement with silence. You are saying aloud, even through written words, that you refuse betrayal in disguise. You are planting a marker in the ground of your spirit. Chosen one, do not delay. Silent betrayal grows in delay. Choose clarity. Choose light. Choose foundation. And know this, heaven sees your declaration. Heaven honors it. And heaven strengthens those who refuse to waver. You are not standing on the edge of loss. You are standing on the edge of victory. Refuse the small compromises now, and you will secure the crown later. Walk away from silent betrayal, and you will walk directly into the embrace of destiny. Chosen one, do you realize that you are never unseen? Your choices, whether bold or quiet, are not made in a vacuum. They are observed, weighed, and remembered. The unseen realm is not empty space. It is crowded with witnesses. Angels stand, watch, recording every step. And those who have gone before you, the faithful who ran their race, gaze as a great cloud of witnesses. Even when no human eye notices, heaven sees, and the record is being written. This is why your choices matter far beyond the moment. Every decision becomes part of your testimony. Every act of obedience or compromise is not only lived now, but echoes into eternity. What feels hidden today will one day be revealed. Nothing is wasted. Nothing forgotten. Nothing unseen. Chosen one. There is a weight upon your life that even you cannot fully measure. Every step you take carves a path, not only for yourself, but for those who will follow. The watchers see this, for your obedience becomes a map for generations, and your compromise a stumbling block in their way. Do not underestimate the sacredness of your hidden decisions. When you choose righteousness in secret, you build altars in the unseen realm that shine like fire to heaven's witnesses. And when you resist compromise, the invisible chorus erupts in victory. For your single act becomes part of a cosmic story larger than your own. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 139, verse 2. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. These words strip away the illusion of secrecy. Even the thoughts you wrestle with in silence are perceived. This should not terrify you, but sober you, for it means you are deeply known. Every battle in your heart is understood, every hesitation weighed, every victory celebrated by heaven. Imagine a courtroom, not of men, but of eternity. The witnesses are not jurors to condemn, but testifiers of truth. Angels record with precision. Your life speaks louder than your lips, and your choices become evidence of your allegiance. When you choose obedience, even in hidden places, the record shines with glory. When you choose compromise, even if unseen by men, the record bears the weight of it. Chosen one, let this reality anchor you. You are not living an unseen life. You are a living scroll, a testimony being written line by line. The silence of heaven in some seasons is not indifference, it is observation. The lack of applause is not abandonment, it is witness. You are seen. Always. This is why the enemy longs to deceive you into thinking no one notices. He whispers, "What does it matter? Who will know? Who will care?" But the watchers know. Heaven cares. And what you do in secret eventually becomes who you are in public. Think of a seed buried in soil. No one sees it. It lies hidden in darkness. Yet the soil watches. The earth feels its growth. And in time, the hidden seed becomes a visible tree. That is your life. Every hidden choice is a seed. It will grow. It will bear fruit. Others may not see the planting, but they will see the harvest. Chosen one. This should fill you with both reverence and hope. Reverence, because you cannot afford to treat choices lightly. Hope, because every hidden act of obedience will one day blossom openly. That prayer whispered in your room when no one knew, it will bear fruit. That moment you turned away from compromise in silence. It is recorded and will testify for you in eternity. There are invisible eyes, but they are not enemies. Angels rejoice when you choose rightly. The faithful who endured before you cheer you on. Heaven records not to condemn, but to preserve testimony. One day, what is written of you will be read aloud, and it will speak louder than your excuses or your justifications. This is why you cannot live as though unnoticed. Your witness is eternal. Your life is more than flesh and breath. It is inscription upon sacred record. And one day, your testimony will inspire others as the testimony of those before you inspires you now. Chosen one, lift your eyes. You are surrounded by witnesses. Let this awareness steady you. Walk as one who knows their life is sacred text. Act as one who understands their story is being etched in eternity. Live as one whose hidden moments matter, for truly, you are never alone, never unseen, never unrecorded. Chosen one. Every offer carries a price, though the cost is rarely written on the surface. The temptation before you glitters like treasure, but what is hidden beneath the surface is far more costly than you could bear. The forbidden path never shows you the bill in advance. It only hands you the debt once you are already bound. You may think, if I accept, at least I will gain relief, comfort, or recognition. Yet the truth is harsher. Whatever you gain in appearance, you lose in substance. For what you trade away is not material, it is eternal. The hidden cost is your witness, your peace, your favor with heaven. And once those are gone, the gain will taste like dust. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 26, "But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand." This image is not about houses and storms, it is about life and choices. To build on compromise is to build on sand. At first, the house looks fine. The walls are upright. The roof is steady. The windows shine in the sun. But when the storm comes, when pressure bears down, the foundation crumbles. What you thought was security collapses into ruin. The hidden cost is not always immediate. Sometimes it waits until your heart has already adjusted, until you think you are safe. Then the foundation shakes, and you realize what you trusted was fragile all along. That is how compromise works. It seems stable until tested. Then it reveals itself as sand. Chosen one. You cannot afford to ignore the true cost. Every compromise takes from your soul first. It drains your confidence in prayer. It robs you of the boldness to stand in truth. It makes your voice tremble when once it carried fire. It steals your ability to look heaven in the eyes without shame. That is the highest cost of all the erosion of your intimacy with God. And yet, because the cost is invisible at first, many trade their inheritance cheaply. They count the gain, but not the loss. They calculate the applause, but not the silence that follows. They imagine the comfort, but not the emptiness that creeps in after. Chosen one, you are called to wisdom, to weigh not only what you see, but what is unseen. Think of a merchant selling a priceless pearl. He exchanges it for coins that glimmer in his hand. Yet within days, those coins are gone. Spent, forgotten. The pearl, once lost, cannot be retrieved. That is what happens when you trade destiny for temporary gain. The pearl of your calling, your purity, your obedience once given away cannot be bought back with applause or wealth. This is why heaven warns you not to rob you of joy, but to spare you from sorrow. The cost is not worth the prize. The exchange is not fair. To step onto the path of compromise is to accept an invisible debt you cannot pay. Beloved, consider carefully. What do you truly gain if peace is lost? What do you truly secure if joy vanishes? What is the value of recognition if heaven no longer smiles upon you? These are not small prices, they are everything. The hidden cost also stretches into your future. One compromise today can ripple into decades. What you forfeit in a moment can take generations to recover. Your choices are not only about you, they are about those tied to your destiny. That is why the enemy works so hard to disguise the cost, because if you saw the full picture, you would never agree to the trade. But you are not blind. Chosen one. Heaven is pulling back the veil, exposing the true price so that you may walk wisely. Do not count the temporary gain as victory. Count the eternal cost. And you will see that obedience is the only profitable path. Do not let impatience drive you into debt. Do not let weariness tempt you into selling your inheritance. You are worth more than what compromise offers. Your soul is of greater value than the counterfeit rewards dangled before you. Do not let what is priceless be exchanged for what perishes. Chosen one. Weigh the cost. Look beyond the glitter. See the hidden debt. And walk away. Not because the offer is small, but because your destiny is too great. Chosen one. When the noise of temptation grows loud, when the weight of false promises presses against your chest, there is still a voice that cuts through the storm. It does not shout. It does not demand. It whispers. It is the still small voice that has followed you since the beginning, guiding, correcting, comforting. The world may offer gain, but this voice offers life. The problem is not that the voice is silent. The problem is that distraction is loud. Your doubt, your hunger, your longing for breakthrough, they roar like waves, drowning out what is subtle. Yet when you quiet your heart, when you lean in, when you dare to believe that God still speaks, you will hear it, a voice that is steady, sure, and utterly faithful. The whisper of God still rings amid the world's chaos. When your heart quiets, He guides, corrects, and comforts you. Turn off the noise. Withdraw from seductive lies. And let that light illuminate your path and keep you steadfast, preventing you from straying into empty promises and false directions daily. Do not doubt if that voice falls silent for a moment. It is a test of faith. Cling to truth. Patiently expect the season of promise, and refuse temporary fixes. Today's faithfulness will unlock broader blessings tomorrow. So persist in loyalty, even when waiting feels costly and uncertain, yet hopeful. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the revelation awaits, an appointed time. It speaks of the end, and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come." These words reveal the tension you feel. The promise is sure, but the timing is hidden. The enemy tempts you to seize shortcuts, but the voice urges patience. It does not rush you. It does not push you toward counterfeit crowns. It steadies you. It says, "Wait, trust. The appointed time will come." End of Chosen One. The whisper of God is not fragile. It does not fade when storms rage. It is consistent, even when you are inconsistent. It waits for you to quiet your heart and lean in again. And every time you do, it draws you back from the brink of compromise. The enemy shouts, "Act now, or lose everything." The Spirit whispers, "Wait, and you will gain what cannot be lost." Which voice will you follow? The still small voice has carried you further than you realize. It nudged you away from dangerous people. It tugged you from wrong paths. It stirred your conscience when compromise seemed appealing. You did not survive this long on your own strength. You survived because the voice kept you from choices that would have destroyed you. And now, it speaks again. Do not trade revelation for reward. Do not abandon the appointed time for immediate gratification. What heaven has prepared for you is certain, even if it lingers. But, chosen one, you must choose to listen. Listening is not passive, it is active. Surrender. It means tuning your heart to obedience. It means silencing the noise of fear, silencing the pull of comparison, silencing the echo of impatience. You know the truth. Every time you have followed the still small voice, peace followed. Every time you ignored it, regret followed. That is the pattern, and it is undeniable. Why then hesitate now? You have proof from your own life that His whisper is trustworthy. This is the moment to anchor yourself. Do not let counterfeit offers lure you into deafness. Do not let the hunger for now rob you of the appointed time. Listen, and you will see that His voice does not just guide, it preserves. It does not just instruct, it saves. I want you to seal this conviction with a declaration. Comment these words below. I will listen. Do not underestimate the power of writing it. This is not for show, it is for your spirit. By declaring it, you are breaking agreement with distraction and aligning yourself with the voice that has always kept you. I will listen is not just a phrase. It is a decision. It is a shield against temptation. A refusal to let counterfeit promises drown out truth. It is a way of saying to yourself, to heaven, and to the enemy, my ears belong to God. My heart belongs to His timing. My life belongs to His voice. Lent, so, chosen one. Lean in. The whisper has not abandoned you. The voice that carried you this far will not fail you now. Listen, obey, and watch as the appointed time unfolds, not a moment late, not a moment early, but perfectly in season. Chosen one, you must understand, what you face is not merely personal. The moment you were marked by heaven, a line was drawn in the unseen. Forces of darkness began to wage war against you, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous. You carry light, and that light terrifies shadows. The battle you feel pressing in on your spirit is not random, it is war. This is why temptation has been relentless. This is why attacks seem to come from every side. The enemy does not fight what does not threaten him. He fights you because you carry fire. You carry destiny. You carry an assignment that will topple structures of darkness and bring freedom to others. That is why the battle lines are drawn around your life. The ancient words recorded in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of darkness, spiritual forces of evil above. Do you see it? The enemy wages war to make you forget who you are. He throws fear like smoke to cloud your vision. He whispers lies to drown out your courage. But heaven declares differently. You are equipped with power, wrapped in love, and anchored in a sound mind. Fear is not your inheritance. Strength is. Think of a battlefield. Soldiers do not fight alone. They fight as an army. Each one holds a shield. And when those shields are locked together, they form a wall no arrow can pierce. This is what happens when you and I stand together in truth. When you share this message, it is not a digital gesture, it is the act of locking shields. It is saying, we will not let one another fall. We will cover one another in the fight. No, when you like this word, it is as if you lift a torch high in the night, signaling to others in the valley, you are not alone. There is still light here. When you subscribe, you are not simply clicking a button, you are stepping into the camp of warriors, saying, I choose to remain connected to the flow of fire that equips me for battle. And when you donate, chosen one, it is not just support, it is the pouring of oil into lamps. Imagine a night watchman standing at the city wall, his lamp burning to guard those within. Without oil, the flame flickers and dies. With oil, the flame endures, keeping the city safe through the long dark hours. Your generosity is that oil. It ensures the flame keeps burning. That messages like this continue to pierce the night, guiding weary hearts. Home, the battle is real, but you are not defenseless. Every act of obedience sharpens your sword. Every prayer strengthens your armor. Every refusal of compromise fortifies your shield. You do not fight in vain. You are not swinging at air. Your resistance shakes the unseen realm more than you know. Chosen one. The reason this war feels heavy is because your assignment is weighty. Do not despise the struggle. It is proof of your significance. If you were ordinary, the enemy would not bother. But you are chosen, and chosen ones are always tested. The greater the calling, the fiercer the battle. But hear me, the victory is already yours. You fight not to gain it, but to enforce it. The cross has already broken the enemy's hold. The resurrection has already sealed the triumph. You are not begging for scraps of victory. You are standing in authority already given. That is why you must not bow to fear. No matter how loud the war drums beat. Picture a lion walking through the wilderness. Smaller animals scatter at its roar. Not because the lion is chasing them, but because of what it carries in its voice. That is you. Chosen one. When you walk in obedience, when you refuse to bow, when you lift your voice in truth, darkness trembles. It knows what you carry. It knows your roar is backed by heaven. So stand tall. Do not shrink back. Recognize that you are not just surviving a battle, you are shifting it. Each stand you take pushes the line of darkness back. Each no you give to compromise is a strike against the enemy's camp. You are not losing, you are advancing. The battle lines are drawn, but you do not stand alone. Heaven stands with you. Angels march beside you. And this community of chosen ones walks alongside you, shield to shield, torch to torch, flame to flame. Chosen one. When the storm of temptation rises, when the counterfeit offers gleam like gold, the surest anchor you possess is covenant memory. It is easy to forget in the heat of the moment what was once carved into your spirit in the quiet. Promises made at altars, words spoken over your life, moments when heaven touched earth and you knew without doubt you were chosen. These are the covenants that must hold you now. Covenant memory is the rope that ties you to your true self when currents try to pull you away. It is the reminder that you are not wandering aimlessly. You are walking a path marked by God Himself. When idols in disguise tempt you, when silent betrayals beckon, when the cost of compromise seems hidden, covenant memory speaks. Remember who you are. Remember what was promised. Remember who promised it. Let the echoes of covenant moments steady your feet. Recall the altar nights, whispered vows, and miracles that cleared your path. Memory is not nostalgia, but armor. Each remembrance sharpens resolve, repels deception, and realigns desire with destiny. In remembering, your heart becomes a witness that resists every seductive detour steadfastly. Carry covenant memory like a lamp through wilderness nights. Its light exposes false bargains and guides weary steps toward true promises. Speak those memories aloud when doubt comes. Let them be your compass. Each recalled miracle rebuilds faith. Each remembered promise renews courage, anchoring you against every tide of compromise. The Word of God declares in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9, "Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, keeping His covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love Him and keep His commandments." Do you hear the weight of this truth? His covenant is not fragile. It does not expire. It does not crumble under pressure. It stretches across generations, binding heaven's faithfulness to those who walk in love and obedience. Your covenant is not a faint memory. It is a living bond, alive in this very moment. Chosen one. Recall the moments when you heard his voice so clearly. Remember the night you cried out, and his peace wrapped around you like a cloak. Recall the time you nearly lost everything, but somehow, against all odds, you were spared. Those were not coincidences, they were covenant interventions. Heaven reminded you that you are held. This memory is not sentimental, it is strategic. The enemy's tactic is always amnesia. If he can make you forget what God has done, you will doubt what God can do. If he can blur your memory of covenant moments, he can lure you into believing that compromise is safer than waiting. But memory is a weapon. When you recall, you resist. When you remember, you anchor your spirit in truth. Think of Israel, wandering through the wilderness, time and again. They forgot. They forgot the Red Sea parting, forgot manna falling from heaven, forgot water pouring from the rock. And every time they forgot, they grumbled, they doubted, they chased idols. Forgetting led to rebellion. Memory would have secured obedience. And so it is with you. If you forget your covenant, the forbidden offer will appear reasonable. If you forget your covenant, silent betrayal will seem harmless. But if you remember, you will see through every disguise, every counterfeit. You will stand, not because the pressure is light, but because the covenant is heavy. Chosen one, you have survived because God has remembered his promise to you. Do not dishonor him by forgetting yours to him. Covenant memory is not only about what he has pledged, it is also about what you vowed. The prayers you prayed in desperation, the words you whispered at altars, the declarations you made in faith, they were not idle. They were covenant, and heaven took them seriously. Let memory be your compass now. When you are tempted to wander, remember the hand that lifted you when you were drowning. When you are tempted to surrender, remember the voice that called you by name. When you are tempted to chase gain, remember the promise that your true treasure is eternal. Do not let today's hunger erase yesterday's miracles. Do not let the ache of waiting blind you to the faithfulness you have already seen. Covenant memory is your inheritance. Guard it, cherish it, lean on it. For when all else shakes, what God has spoken will stand. Chosen one. Covenant is not just history, it is destiny. To remember is to realign. To recall is to return. And when you anchor yourself in memory, you cannot be easily moved. The storms may rage, the offers may shine, but you will know, my God is faithful, his covenant unbreakable, and my destiny untouchable. Chosen one. Reputation is more fragile than you think. It is not built in a single day, but it can be lost in a single choice. The name you carry is not just letters, it is a banner, a fragrance, a testimony. When people hear it, they feel something: trust, respect, hope, or disappointment. Your reputation is the echo of your decisions, the trail left behind by your walk with God. The enemy knows this, and that is why he tempts you to compromise, not only to wound your soul, but to stain your name. For a name once tainted is not easily restored. The power of reputation is this: it is not only about you, but about what you represent. As God's chosen, your name is tied to his. When you walk with integrity, your name points upward to him. But when you fall into compromise, your name becomes a stumbling block to others who watch. Chosen one, your name is like a garment woven by heaven itself. Every decision you make adds a thread, bright or dark, strong or weak. When you choose integrity, the fabric gleams and endures. When you yield to compromise, the fabric tears, leaving gaps for shame to seep through. Guard it, for your garment of reputation is meant to cover you with honor. Think of your reputation as a fragrance poured out into the air. It travels farther than you know, touching lives you may never meet. When it carries purity, it refreshes weary hearts and inspires faith. When it carries compromise, it poisons and weakens those who breathe it. The fragrance of your life cannot be hidden. It will testify long after you pass. Your name is also a key. Chosen one. It opens doors where money cannot reach and closes paths where compromise tries to enter. A clean name unlocks trust, influence, and opportunities aligned with destiny. A corrupted name locks you outside your true inheritance. Choose wisely what you attach to your name, for it determines which doors heaven allows you to walk through. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 1, a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Do you see? Beloved, heaven values your name more than the treasures the world offers. Riches vanish, possessions fade, but your reputation carries forward into generations. A good name opens doors that wealth cannot. A good name speaks long after you are gone. And for the chosen ones, a good name is a weapon against the plans of darkness. Yet this is why the cost of compromise is so high. A single forbidden offer accepted, a single hidden betrayal embraced, can unravel years of faithfulness. People may not see the secret details, but the spiritual weight of the choice begins to echo outward, touching your witness, touching your legacy, touching the generations that follow. Chosen one, you cannot afford to stain what God has built. Your name has been preserved through storms, refined through trials, and written into the story of heaven. Do not throw it away for a moment's applause. Do not trade it for wealth that evaporates or influence that collapses. Protect your name as fiercely as you would protect your own heartbeat. And yet, the temptation to abandon it often comes disguised as necessity. If I don't bend now, I'll lose everything, whispers the enemy. But the truth is reversed. If you bend now, you risk losing the very core of who you are. Your name is worth more than the temporary relief compromise offers. Think of Joseph, accused and imprisoned, though innocent. His reputation among men seemed ruined, yet heaven preserved his true name. And in time, the truth was revealed, and his reputation restored higher than before. That is the power of God's hand. When you protect your integrity, He protects your name. Even if others misunderstand you, heaven records truth, and truth will one day speak. Chosen one, your reputation is not a decoration, it is a calling card of your destiny. Guard it, strengthen it. Let your name ring with honesty, purity, and steadfast obedience. When others speak it, let them be reminded that God still keeps His chosen ones, even in dark times. Now, I ask you to seal this conviction with a prophetic act. Comment the number 555 below. This number is a symbol of divine grace multiplied, grace that preserves your name when your own strength feels small. By writing 555, you are declaring, "My reputation belongs to God. I will not stain my name for temporary gain. Grace will carry me." Okay, this is not superstition. It is declaration. Every time you type it, every time your eyes see it, you will remember that your name has value, and you will resist the whispers that try to cheapen it. Heaven sees your declaration. Darkness trembles at it, and your spirit strengthens by it. So, chosen one, carry your name with reverence. Protect it from compromise. Guard it against temptation. Let it shine as testimony, not just for today, but for the future generations who will hear of you and say, "They were faithful. They did not bow." End of. Chosen one. There comes a holy strength that is not born of comfort, but of courage. To stand in the face of offers that glitter yet conceal poison requires more than discipline. It requires divine boldness. This is the courage to say no, even when everything in you screams yes. This is the bravery to walk away, even when the path of compromise looks smoother than obedience. Courage in this sense is not loud. It is not the roar of arrogance or the show of defiance. It is quiet steel, firm resolve, the kind that does not waver though the storm howls. Courage is the sacred no that protects your destiny when everything around you tries to buy it. Courage is the shield that refuses to let temporary satisfaction rob eternal inheritance. We find in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." Chosen one. You may not realize it, but every time you have chosen integrity over compromise, you have already demonstrated this courage. Every time you resisted shortcuts, every time you walked away from false promises, every time you endured loneliness rather than bowing to betrayal, you were stronger than you knew. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision that fear will not rule. Look at the path behind you. How many times did you face decisions that could have destroyed you? And yet you stood. That was courage, seated by heaven. It was not natural, it was supernatural. It was proof that Christ's strength was alive within you. Yet now, once again, you face the test. The forbidden offers have not disappeared, they have only changed disguises. They may look different than before, but their purpose is the same: to buy your obedience, to steal your destiny, to chain your courage. And once again, heaven calls you to rise and say no. This act of refusal is not small. It is the breaking of chains, the preserving of testimony, the declaring of loyalty. Each time you say no to the counterfeit, you say yes to the eternal. Each time you resist temptation, you carve a path for others to follow. Your courage is not just for you, it is a lantern for those who walk behind you. Chosen one. Courage is also foresight. It sees beyond the immediate. It recognizes that today's compromise is tomorrow's regret, while today's obedience is tomorrow's crown. Courage is the ability to lift your eyes beyond hunger, beyond loneliness, beyond pressure, and see eternity stretching ahead. It is the strength to choose the narrow road, even when the wide one is lined with applause. Think of Daniel, who refused the king's food. Think of Esther, who walked into the throne room uninvited. Think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who stood tall when everyone else bowed. These were not superhuman giants. They were chosen ones like you, strengthened by the same Spirit. Their courage was not in their own strength, but in their allegiance to a God who never fails. And so it is with you. When you say no today, you step into their legacy. You join the line of the courageous, those who valued obedience over safety, those who chose truth over survival, those who lived not for applause, but for eternity. Chosen one, the moment you are in may feel unbearable, but courage whispers, hold the line, refuse the counterfeit. Stand tall, though the world tells you to bend. For every time you say no, heaven leans closer, angels rejoice, and the enemy trembles. Do not despise this courage, even if it feels small. Sometimes courage is as simple as walking away from the wrong conversation. Sometimes it is choosing silence when provoked. Sometimes it is refusing a deal that looks promising but smells of compromise. Small no's become mighty walls, protecting the temple of your destiny. Courage today is an act of mercy for your future self. Years from now, you will look back with gratitude that you resisted, that you held fast, that you refused to sell your inheritance for momentary ease. The scars of the battle will not haunt you, they will crown you. The weight of your refusal will become the strength of your testimony. So let courage rise, not as noise, but as steady fire. Let it guard your heart, your name, your covenant. Let it remind you that compromise will always cost more than obedience. And let it anchor you in the truth that Christ is your strength. And through him, you can endure. Chosen one. The courage to say no is not weakness. It is the greatest display of strength. For in that refusal, you choose God over gain, eternity over emptiness, destiny over distraction. And in that choice, heaven crowns you with honor that no one can take away. Chosen one. Though the path of obedience can feel narrow, you were never meant to walk it alone. The enemy thrives in isolation. He whispers most effectively when you feel unseen, unsupported, and unloved. But heaven has always designed a different story for you, the story of community, the arms of others, the prayers of the faithful, the fellowship of those who carry the same fire. All these are part of your preservation. You have felt the sting of rejection, the ache of being misunderstood, the pain of carrying burdens no one else seemed to notice. These moments tempted you to believe that you are destined to be alone, that your assignment excludes companionship. But listen carefully. Solitude may be part of your shaping, but community is part of your strengthening. You were chosen not just to endure, but also to be upheld. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 2, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. This is not suggestion, it is command. To carry one another is to become Christ's hands extended. To be carried is not weakness, it is obedience. And in your journey, chosen one, there are those assigned to carry you, just as you are assigned to carry others. Think of Moses on the hill, his hands raised in intercession, while Joshua fought in the valley. When his arms grew weary, Aaron and Hur came beside him, lifting his hands until victory was won. Alone, Moses could not endure. With community, the battle was secured. That image is your truth. Your strength is multiplied when others lift you. Chosen one. Do not despise the ones sent to walk beside you. They may not always look like you imagined. They may not come with titles or recognition, but their prayers matter. Their encouragement matters. Their quiet presence in your valley matters. You may not notice it in the moment, but without them, the weight would have crushed you. And likewise, you are called to strengthen others. Community is not one-sided. You have scars that can comfort, testimonies that can guide, endurance that can inspire. Your story is not only for you, it is medicine for another wounded heart. Every burden you carried, every fire you walked through, equips you to lift another when they stumble. The community of the chosen is not built on perfection, but on shared endurance. It is a fellowship of those who know what it is to bleed, yet still stand. It is the gathering of warriors who understand that destiny is too heavy for one set of shoulders. It is the family heaven provides so that no chosen one collapses alone. This is why the enemy attacks your relationships. He wants you to mistrust, to isolate, to believe no one truly understands. He wants to cut you off from the voices that would remind you of your calling. But heaven whispers differently. You belong. You are covered. You are part of a greater tapestry. Chosen one. Look back at your life. How many times were you preserved because someone prayed for you when you did not even know? How many times did encouragement arrive just when you were about to give up? How many times did a word, a message, a presence sustain you? That was not accident. That was community. You must learn to receive as much as you give. Pride will tell you that needing others makes you weak. Truth declares that needing others makes you human. And heaven's design has always been that strength flows through connection. You were never meant to carry the weight alone. And so, walk with humility. Allow the community that God provides to lift you when your hands grow weary. Trust their prayers. Welcome their presence. Lean into their strength. You are not less chosen for needing help. You are more equipped. Chosen one. The arms of community are waiting. Do not resist them. You are part of a body, a family, a fellowship forged in the fire of endurance. And together, you will rise higher than you could ever rise alone. Chosen one. There comes a time when desire itself must be purified. You have carried hunger for breakthrough, thirst for answers, longing for relief. These desires are not evil, but they must be recalibrated, left unchecked. Desire can drive you into compromise. Aligned with heaven, desire becomes fuel for destiny. The recalibration of desire is not denial, it is alignment. Think of a compass. When the needle is misaligned, it still points somewhere, but not to true north. If you follow it without correction, you will wander in circles. Desire is your compass. When fixed on self, it leads to idols and false crowns. When recalibrated toward God, it guides you to destiny with unshakable accuracy, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 4, take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. This is the secret. It is not about suppressing desire, but sanctifying it. When you delight in Him, it reshapes your longings, refining them into something pure. You no longer chase empty crowns, because the only crown you crave is eternal. You no longer hunger for applause, because the only approval you seek is His. Chosen one. This process may feel like loss. It may feel as though God strips away opportunities, relationships, and comforts you thought you needed. But in truth, He is recalibrating your compass, removing false magnets that pull you off course. What feels like subtraction is actually precision. What feels like emptiness is actually preparation for fullness. And here, I want to speak from the heart. These words, poured like oil into your spirit, are meant to strengthen your steps. If they have blessed you, I ask you help keep the flame alive. Like this message, not for me, but as a way of saying, this truth matters. This light must keep burning. Share it, as if handing a torch to another traveler lost in the night. Subscribe, not as routine, but as commitment. I want to remain in this flow of living waters. No, and if you feel led, consider giving. Imagine a lighthouse on a stormy coast, its beam cutting through fog to guide ships safely to harbor. Without oil for its lamp, the light fades, and sailors are left to crash upon the rocks. Your generosity is oil. It keeps the lamp burning, ensuring that voices like yours, weary and searching, find guidance before it's too late. Donate not out of duty, but out of partnership. In giving, you are saying, I will not only receive light, I will keep it shining for others. But chosen one. Recalibrating desire also means examining what voices you have allowed to shape your cravings. The world trains you to want faster, bigger, louder. Heaven trains you to want deeper, truer, eternal. Do not despise the process of waiting. Waiting is not wasted. It is the recalibration of your compass. Think of a garden. Seeds do not sprout overnight. They rest hidden in soil, watered by unseen rains, stretched by silent roots. To demand fruit without process is to uproot what was meant to feed generations. Your desire is a seed. If planted in compromise, it may sprout quickly, but will wither. If planted in obedience, it may take longer, but its fruit will endure. Recalibration means you no longer ask only, what do I want? But also, who do I want to become? It means you measure desire not by speed, but by alignment. The world celebrates what grows fastest. Heaven crowns what grows faithful. Chosen one. You are being invited into this deeper place, to release cravings that lead to sand and embrace hunger that builds on rock, to let go of fleeting dreams that dissolve and hold fast to eternal promises that endure. Your desire is holy when anchored in Him, and when it is, you will discover that what He gives far exceeds what you thought you lost. Now, anchor this moment with a declaration. Comment these words below. I choose purity. Do not treat it as mere interaction. Write it as covenant. You are declaring that your compass will no longer be pulled by false magnets, but fixed upon true north. You are announcing to heaven and to yourself, I will desire rightly. I will hunger for what endures. Lie, chosen one. Recalibration is not punishment. It is mercy. It is the gentle hand of heaven correcting your needle so that you may finally walk without wandering. Receive it, embrace it, and step into the joy of desiring what is eternal, knowing that every yes you give to God shapes you into who you were always meant to be. Chosen one. When you refuse the counterfeit and hold fast to obedience, you do not walk away empty-handed, though it may seem as if you have lost opportunities, relationships, or recognition. Heaven hides a greater treasure, the secret reward. This is not the kind of prize the world applauds. It is deeper, quieter, and infinitely more valuable. It is the unseen compensation that only God can give, the inheritance preserved for those who choose Him above all else. The world measures reward in applause, wealth, or fame, but heaven's reward is measured in peace that surpasses understanding, in favor that cannot be explained, in doors that no man can shut. These rewards do not always glitter, but they endure. They do not decay. They do not disappoint. And they do not bind you to chains. They liberate. They crown. They satisfy the places no earthly gain could ever reach. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 6, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father, unseen. Then your Father who sees will reward you." Do you see? Beloved, the secret reward comes not through show, but through hidden obedience. The Father who sees in secret is the one who rewards openly. He is not blind to your sacrifices, to your silent refusals, to the tears you cry when no one is watching. He is the witness of your lonely yes, and He is the keeper of your hidden no. Every unseen act is recorded, and everyone will be repaid. Chosen one, think of all the times you turned down the forbidden offer in silence. No applause followed. No one celebrated. You may have even felt foolish for walking away. Yet heaven was watching, and heaven was recording. The reward for those choices is being stored where moth cannot corrupt and thief cannot steal. It is the wealth of eternity, reserved for those who choose purity. The secret reward is also protection. How many times have you been preserved from snares you did not even know existed? How many accidents were diverted? How many betrayals blocked? How many traps dismantled without your knowledge? You thought it was coincidence, but it was reward. Your obedience closed doors the enemy had planned to open. Your refusal secured shields you did not see. And the secret reward is strength. With every compromise refused, you grow sturdier. With every temptation resisted, your spirit gains weight. You are not the same person you were before the battle. Even if the world never notices, heaven does. The fire you carry now is brighter because of what you endured and overcame. Chosen one. The secret reward also carries joy, not shallow happiness that fades, but deep, abiding joy that cannot be stolen. It is the joy of knowing you are aligned with heaven, the joy of walking guilt-free, the joy of sleeping with peace instead of regret. It is the quiet crown upon your spirit that whispers, "Well done, Om." And do not think for a moment that the reward ends here. The fullness is eternal. Every hidden act of faithfulness builds treasure in heaven. Every refusal of compromise adds weight to your eternal inheritance. One day, when you stand before the throne, the secret rewards will be revealed. What was hidden will shine. What was unseen will be celebrated. And you will realize that no was wasted. No sacrifice unnoticed. Chosen one, do not despise the silence of your obedience. It is not empty. It is storing up reward. Do not envy those who seem to prosper through shortcuts. Their crowns will crumble. Yours will endure. The secret reward of obedience is the only wealth that cannot be taken, so keep walking faithfully. Even when unseen, keep refusing. Even when no one notices, keep saying yes to God and no to compromise. For the secret reward is waiting not just in eternity, but even now in the peace, protection, strength, and joy that only heaven can give. Chosen one. After all the crossroads, after every temptation resisted and every battle endured, you arrive at dawn. This is not the dawn of ease or the shallow comfort of worldly gain. It is the dawn of sovereignty, the moment when scars no longer define you as wounded but as crowned. You step forward, scarred, yet sovereign, chosen yet tested, broken yet whole. The night has been long, but it could not extinguish the light in you. This dawn does not erase the trials, it redeems them. Every tear becomes a jewel. Every wound becomes a testimony. Every rejection becomes proof that you were set apart. You did not collapse under the weight of temptation. You stood, and in standing, you proved what heaven already declared, that you are chosen, called, and preserved. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." This is your story. Darkness tried, temptation pressed, betrayal whispered, idols disguised themselves, silent compromises sought to erode your strength. And yet, the light within you refused to die. You did not overcome by your own strength alone, but by the one who placed his fire in your spirit. That fire has now carried you to the threshold of dawn. Chosen one. Dawn is not only for you, it is for those who will follow your path. Others will see your scars and believe they too can survive. Others will hear your story and know that obedience is worth it. Others will watch your endurance and understand that compromise is never the answer. You have become a signpost, pointing toward life, pointing toward eternity. The inheritance you carry now is not small. It is not measured in coins or applause. It is measured in authority. Authority that comes only to those who said no when others said yes. Authority that belongs to those who walked away from counterfeit crowns and chose eternal ones. Your authority is born from obedience, and it cannot be taken. Chosen one. You stand now, not as one who barely survived, but as one who overcame. You stand not as a victim, but as a victor. The dawn proves that no weapon formed against you prospered, that no temptation succeeded in buying your destiny, that no betrayal silenced your song. You are living testimony that light endures. Let your scars shine. Do not hide them. They are your crown. They tell the story of survival, of refusal, of endurance. They remind you that you walked through fire but were not consumed, that you faced lions but were not devoured, that you stood at the cliff of compromise but did not fall. These scars are proof that heaven was with you every step. And now, chosen one, walk forward into inheritance. The dawn is not an end, but a beginning. You have crossed the test, and now you carry the mantle. You will speak, and your words will cut chains. You will walk, and your steps will leave trails of fire. You will stand, and others will gather courage from your stance. Do not despise the long night. It shaped you. It refined you. It proved you. And because of it, this dawn shines brighter than it ever could without the darkness. Chosen one. You are sovereign now, not in worldly power, but in heavenly authority. You are scarred, but crowned. Tested, but trusted. Weary, yet victorious. This is the dawn after the crossroads, the light after the valley, the inheritance after obedience. Walk forward boldly, for you are chosen for such a time as this. Chosen one. You have walked the full journey. You have stood at the crossroads, faced the forbidden offers, resisted silent betrayals, endured trials. And now, dawn has broken over your destiny. What you carry is not ordinary, it is testimony. Your scars shine as crowns. Your endurance speaks louder than compromise. And your light terrifies the darkness that tried to silence you. You are proof that obedience is worth it. Proof that faith still prevails. Proof that chosen ones cannot be bought. And now, as you carry this fire forward, I ask you to keep the flame alive beyond this moment. Like this word, not for vanity, but because every click is a spark that pushes light deeper into the shadows. Share it. As one who passes a torch to another weary traveler in the night, your simple act might be the reason someone else finds strength not to bow. Subscribe if you have not yet. Not as a ritual, but as a covenant. It is your way of saying, I will remain connected to this stream of living fire. I will not walk alone. Each time you stay connected, you allow heaven's reminders to reach you in your darkest hour. And if your heart is stirred, if you know the weight of this fire must keep burning, then consider giving. Think of a lamp in a storm without oil. The flame flickers and dies. With oil, it burns through the night, guiding those who would otherwise be lost. Your donation is that oil. It is not payment, it is partnership. Together we ensure the flame does not dim, that chosen ones across the world hear the words they need to endure. So stand tall, beloved. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Give dusu, not as duty, but as destiny. For you are not just a hearer of this word, you are now its carrier.